options. I mean, I don't know the extent to which I would do anything that is a direct sequel to the song, just because I feel like it would suffer by comparison to the original.
True.
The middle verse of that song is some of the lyrics that I'm proudest of in my life, and I feel like I don't know if I could. I can't hit those heights again. I'm 42 years old, for God's sake.
I was wondering if you said you were doing another acoustic album. Is it just the one song related to the comic, or is it going to be kind of more?
No, it'll be acoustic versions of all the songs that have inspired this book, plus the new one. People have been asking me for a long time, because the original recordings were all done sort of band style at home, and then when people see me, at least before I started touring with the band, it was always the acoustic version that people sort of got used to. And
right.
People have always asked, when are you going to go into the studio and just make some really nice, high quality recordings of those songs? So that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
We'll see what. I don't know if it'll all just be me and an acoustic guitar. We might get some guests in there. We might add some extra vocals or something like that. But
cool.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Anybody else? Yes.
What is the origin story of your two's partnership? Where were you met in college?
We met in college.
We were both bitten by the same radioactive spider.
Yeah, remarkable. And we both, developed malignant tumors. It was kind of sad. We met in college. We were friends, and we actually hadn't talked for a while. But I kept track of what Jonathan was doing. At some point, I bought all of his music in that amazing giant buy all my music thing on his website, and then we started bumping into each other in New York, and sort of like rekindled our friendship. And at a certain point, I was like, hey, Jonathan. Actually, I pitched him a different idea, and we were thinking that might happen someday. But then, one day I was literally just kind of sitting around procrastinating, posting dumb stuff on Twitter, and it occurred to me that all of his songs, he's done a ton of songs that have these great monster characters and great supervillain characters, and I work in comics, right? So I've spent years thinking about monsters and supervillains.
And robots.
And robots, yes, indeed. Robots. A lot of time thinking about robots. And it occurred to me that you put these characters together and you'd have a great supervillain team-up story. And I tweeted as much, and Jonathan, tweeted back, "Do it," exactly. And so we did, and that's the origin story. But yeah, it is that kind of miracle of. It's not a miracle. It's that kind of nice thing about. Independence, you know what I mean? Like Jonathan owns all of his songs, and I own the fruit of my labors when I'm working on a creator-owned project. So we were able just to, when he said yes and I said yes, we could do it, and then we suckered Talk into drawing it, and Jessica into coloring, and Simon Boland into lettering, and these are great folks I've worked together with in the past on books, and they just, I don't know, everybody who came on board just sort of got it, and it's been a kick in the pants, and you guys got it, so we're really grateful. It's happening. So yeah.
Was there ever a resolution with Glee?
Yes.
The story is still developing. I think there's not much interesting to tell. Basically, at a certain point, once the internet loses interest in the story, it just becomes lawyers talking to each other, and that is, I assure you, the most boring thing in the world. It's not particularly juicy information. It's a lot of weird back and forth stuff about.
So you're still in.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. My guess is that not much is going to happen. The main problem is that they are a very large corporation with a team of lawyers who are paid to sit around waiting for the opportunity to squash bugs.
And the bug in the story, Joe.
Right, exactly. And it may very well be that the whatever legal recourse I may have is just not worth the trouble of pursuing, because I've spoken to a lot of people who have had dealings with their legal team, and they're not very nice. Nor should they be. They're lawyers. So I don't know. I'm not as actively angry about it as I was when it first happened.
Oh, we are.
Oh, I know. And I also feel like I did a pretty good job of dealing with it at the time, you know, I feel like publicity-wise, it went about as well as it could have gone for me, and about as badly as it could have gone for them.
Yeah.
And I'm preparing myself for that to be the extent of the satisfaction that I get out of this situation, which is no small amount of satisfaction. To be perfectly honest.
Would you like us to do anything?
The army.
Burn down Carroll Gardens. No, please don't. No. There's nothing that anyone needs to do. I'm very grateful for everyone who bought that track. Oh, I gotta check. I bet the reporting for that track is probably in the.
Oh right.
The.
Jonathan's referring to he reposted the track that was stolen as a special Glee edition, and with the proceeds going to charity.
Right.
And it quickly outpaced the Glee version.
And now that enough time has passed, I think probably the reporting is in on how many copies that actually sold. So I'll be able to write some big checks to those charities, which is also very exciting. Nice, really nice. Oh yes.
This is the first time either of you have done anything Kickstarter.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, this wonderful experience, is it potentially going to change how you do things?
I don't think I'd do it again.
A lot of work. No, it's been amazing. It's been astounding, you know. So, yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about it. I mean, we talk every day for far too long because we're sort of marveling over, you know, just the whole world opening up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we both, I think we share a real affinity towards do-it-yourself kind of, just get it done, get it out there in the world. You know, we both use the internet and the digital revolution at key points and continue to use it in our careers in order just to do stuff. But yeah, this is the first time either of us has delved into Kickstarter. For me as a comics person, what is kind of beautiful about it is that it allows for, you know, I mean, it allows you to get the product into the hands of people. You know what I mean? An independent book done with Kickstarter. I mean, we've you know, you can still work with comic book stores. You can still work with digital distributors. You know, we've got comic book stores who are buying packs of the comics through the Kickstarter, and we're digitally distributing through Comixology and Monkey Brain. So all that can happen, but we're getting it directly into the hands of people who want it. You know, and that allows us. I mean, the most important thing for me, frankly, is it allows us to pay these artists, you know, who are working on this thing, and pay them very well. You know, you guys have enabled, you know, us to really, you know, enable that to happen, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the temptation when you're doing projects, you know, when you're self-funding stuff or when you're doing any sort of indie stuff and you don't have a huge gob of money behind you, there's always the temptation to ask your friends to do stuff and to try to get people to work below their rate, and that always feels kind of bad because it's like everybody's all these creative people who are trying to make a living doing this. You want to pay them what they're worth. So that was really nice, is that we could, you know, up front decide what they deserve to get paid and set the amount based on that. And if it didn't reach it, then we wouldn't do it. But we did, and you know, I think they're pretty pleased with how things are going too. And it's also the kind of thing where you know, it really just changes. I mean, I've known Kickstarter for some time, you know, but doing it and going through it really does sort of change your viewpoint about stuff, because, you know, when we talk about doing other stuff together, or, you know, maybe seeing where this leads to larger stuff or more books or whatever, you know, now when we make that decision, we already know how it works this way.
Yeah.
And it works pretty well this way. So, you know, if somebody, for instance, were to come along and say, hey, we'd like to publish this book, we'd say, well, can you give us $200,000? You know? I mean, no, it's not that simple, but it's like, you know, it does sort of turn your head around.
Yeah. I mean, there's some Kickstarter people here actually. I mean, I just want to give them a big shout out because, you know, I mean, I think it's a huge social good. You know what I mean? That this thing is out there. So, thank you.
When you set your goal, did you expect to blow past it, or did you really think that was what you were going to hit, or what? Because I know some Kickstarters kind of like eke right past their goal on the last day, and some blow through it right away. So I'm just curious how you came up with your initial goal.
I felt like first of all, neither one of us expected. What is happening right now is absurd. I'm going to go on the record and say it is absurd.
Every time something happens, I mean, just the fact that so many people are here right now, I'm shocked. You know what I mean? Like everything, you know, like all this. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I think we had a good sense that we were going to hit the goal, but you know, I mean, I also am sort of paranoid that. I'm always paranoid that I'm going to be the guy who destroys the model.
Thanks, Gordon.
I had this irrational fear that we would do this Kickstarter and it would fail, and then would come this onslaught of cultural articles in Slate and about like, is this the end of crowdfunding? How internet superstar. Apparently it's all over, and then like I was. But luckily it didn't go that way, so we're both very grateful.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what's the stretch goal for you to do a duet with Jonathan? What's the stretch goal for you not to do a duet with Jonathan?
Oh, okay, that's a stretch goal. Well, I've actually got my eye on Rex Harrising my way through Read Your Brains. But we'll see. There may be other people who are better suited to that, including Jonathan.
Maybe a bonus track.
Maybe a bonus. Thank you. It'll be a short one. 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds. Kid, knock yourself out. I mean, it's funny because I've known Jonathan. I mean, I knew him as a guy. You know what I mean? Like I knew him as a friend in college, and then I knew he was he was singing in college. He was amazing, and. But then I became like a ridiculous fan. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I have on my iPod, his stuff is just constantly on repeat or on shuffle. What's that term they use? The Apple people? Shuffle. Yes, it's constantly on shuffle. And so I've been listening to these songs for ages, and I was kind of even embarrassed to tell him that when we finally started to reconnect and everything. You know, I think there was some point when we were hanging out, and then I was walking home afterwards, and I think Code Monkey came on my iPod like as I was walking away from him, you know, and I was like, I texted him, listening to it now, and he was like, go away. But yeah, I mean, it would be a fanboy dream come true for me to be able to do something like that, but I'm not going to force it. We'll see. I'm talking to my voice teacher, you know. I don't know if I'm ready. We'll see how you do.
There was something I was curious about. How did you get involved with Portal before like it blew up?
They invited me. Kim Swift, who was the project lead, was a fan and came to a show that I did in Seattle and introduced herself afterwards. And they flew me out there sometime later to talk about doing stuff. And you know, after I met the writer of sort of the main writer for that game, and he, you know, I played through an early version of it and met GLaDOS and fell in love, and we both sort of immediately were like, well, GLaDOS should sing a song, obviously. Right. That's what we should do to work together. And he initially wanted it to be, he was like, I've always wanted to stop a video game and have like a big musical theater number. I still think somebody should do. I still think
it actually has been done.
Oh, has it been done?
Yeah, Monkey Island 3.
Oh, really?
Did they all look into it now?
There was like this big musical thing in the middle of it.
Oh, really? Oh, boy, I'm glad we didn't do it in Portal. Whatever.
It's done before,
Lunar? I'm just saying, it's been done before.
All right. I'm glad. Thank God. We made the right decision.
Didn't expect it to blow up so much.
Robotron.
Battles. I feel Battles.
So when's Portal 3 coming out?
I am not privy to any information about what is going on at Valve. I think probably never. Have they said anything about Portal 3 publicly?
They don't say anything.
They can't count to 3.
They can't.
It's like Capcom with Street Fighter. But that happened, so.
You know, it's kind of, I mean, in a way, it's good. It's like name a third thing in a series that was as good as the first one. You know, I mean, even Star Wars.
Apologies to any third children in the audience.
But you especially know what I'm talking about. Should I have a Post-it note so I can put my gum in it?
This will be a stretch goal, actually a reward.
Ah, Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, that's solid.
You've made your point, sir.
Any other? Yes, right there.
So the last update on the quick track trending was like over 350,000. Are you thinking about having any more stretch goals?
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
We're working out where they're going to be and what they're going to be. We'll probably announce them.
I think Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're waiting on a key element, but we have we've got
cool stuff.
We do have cool stuff. Yeah.
I look that kick track trend doesn't I don't buy it.
It's been coming down a little bit since you hit your 200,000 goal. So if you get that next stretch goal, maybe.
What is it? What is it trending toward right now?
Well, it was 390 this morning. It's down to 370, 380.
No,
We're doomed. Kick track. He's referring to a website that tracks Kickstarter projects and kind of, they try to Nate Silver it a little bit. But yeah, it's early in the process. It was like projection $9 million.
After our first day, it was projecting $1 million. Like, wow, this is turning out a lot better than we thought.
And as it goes on, things even out. But yeah, no, it's. We look at that thing far more than we care to admit. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't when I was running, I was like constantly.
I know. Yeah. Most of the job when you're running a Kickstarter is hitting the refresh button. It's a lot of work.
So it's like a UPS package.
Yeah, it's like a UPS package, exactly.
Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you. And do you need a minute to prepare, Jonathan? And that's what you do.
I may need a minute to tune this guitar. Yes. Am I doing it right here? Or are we gonna,
yeah, back wall.
Back wall? Should I move the back wall?
Whatever you're more comfortable with.
This may not be bad here. I mean, because we've sort of.
Stand on the counter.